Okay, let's have a look at the map. Flight plan, copy flight plan. Let's get Navigraph up and running as well while we're doing it. New flight plan. Paste this in. Okay, so Navigraph doesn't have all of the airports, which is a shame. So we will improvise slightly. If we go and put this on VFR, that's interesting that it really doesn't have some of them. So Quinton Lodge is completely missing, for example. So we will be relying on LittleNavMap and not touching Navigraph for that very reason. Okay, let's go and jump in the airplane. And I'm going to cheat today and press Control and E. I'll turn the volume of the engine down just a little bit so you can hear yourself speak, or hear me speak. Okay. It's a bit windy today, as you can see, and whoa! Just going to see what's going on with this. I think the wind is making it almost impossible. But I'm holding it on the brakes. So we are going to, it's unflyable weather. We are going to turn the live weather off and put ourselves back on a few clouds. Okay, I need to check this. There's something wrong here. I can't actually slow the aeroplane down. Let me just check what the control inputs are doing. So I've got this on single engine. Sensitivities. So straight lining it. Oh, I know why. That sounds better. We're hardly going to need any runway, so I'm not going to worry about backtracking. Okay, so we need to roll in slightly on the view so it's not panoramic. Well, it's not panoramic, so it's not fisheye, I should say. So we've just taken off from Invercargill. So this is... Invercargill is where Burt Munro was famously from. The world's fastest Indian, you may have heard the story. aeroplane makes a good whistling noise, doesn't it? Or should I say, all of the struts and cables make a whistling noise. Okay, so we are going to head south immediately. Keep out of the way of the jet that's just taxiing around. So we're going to go down to the beach where Burt Munro famously tested his motorbike. We're going to have a look at the route we're going, and we're just coming out towards this beach. So we'll fly along the beach a little way, then we're going to go over to the island here. So let's change the map to the terrain view so we can actually see anything. So Center Island is our first destination. So Peter says morning from New Zealand. Good morning, Peter. Let's have a look at this from the outside. What we could do, actually no, I haven't got them installed. I was going to say I've got some men with flying hats on, but we'll change her outfit, shall we? Make it a bit more appropriate for this aeroplane. So we want to go into MISC. And the pilot avatar, let's see what we've got installed. That's a modern pilot. Which one should we choose? One with a flying hat on really, but I don't think I've got any installed at the moment. I've only got the default ones installed. We'll go for pilot number 1. Go back, resume. There we go. At least it's got the baseball cap on. Actually, to be honest though, thinking about it, because they sit a bit tall in the cockpit, don't they? Let's go back in, and if we choose the girl one, they're a bit shorter. Apply, go back, resume. Yeah, she sits more behind the cowl, which makes more sense. The Bücker Jungmann's amazing, isn't it? It looks gorgeous. So people are asking me, I'm only going to do a video on airplanes now when they've reached their final state. I've kind of had my fingers burnt so many times with partly finished airplanes, and we've all seen the preview videos of the Learjet. We know that there's lots of sounds missing and lots of features missing. I'm amazed that, well, I wonder if the lawyers will turn up to stop them, because historically Learjet have not played well with the simulation crowd at all. Okay, so this is the beach at Invercargill where Bert would have raced his motorbike many, many years ago. Should we scoot down? flat calm, isn't it? Of course, the real weather is anything but calm. If we go and turn it on, yeah, look, the wind is quite vicious. We're going to be thrown all over the place if we leave this on real. It's a windy day, although I guess we could come down to the water's edge at least. Look at us going sideways in the wind. And that's why we're not using the real weather today. I guess what we could do is go a few clouds and then modify the wind. So we've got the mean ground level, wind from 270, speed. So if we turn it up a little bit, you'll see at least see some texture on the water, which should be nice. Okay, so we're just making our way around the coast. Should we get some speed on? So we can see kilometers an hour here. So if I open the throttle right up, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. I mean, look at the airspeed and watch the throttle. Even 50% throttle, look, the difference between, look at the airspeed, so we're just about level, plus 50% worth of throttle gets us no advantage, so you basically just drink more fuel. Do a barrel roll. Let me get some height first. So people are putting requests in for biplane aerobatics. This is going to be fun. We could probably do a loop in this thing. No, it's going to fall over the top. Should we try that again? I'm just going to check the volume levels for you to make sure you're not completely deafened by it. The real trick to do, I guess, in a plane like this would be hammerhead turn. I don't know if it will allow it really. Let's try. We'll get a bit of height first, just for safety's sake. Yeah, it's started to corkscrew a little bit. It's difficult without virtual reality, without a VR headset. It's very difficult to judge what's happening. I love that you can see all of the cables moving. Okay, oops, we want LittleNavMap, don't we? So we are, yeah, we'll carry on along the coast. We'll straight line it over this bit of land here. And then we're going to shoot out across to the island, just to be nosy basically. Will I do another flight in the 850? That's a good idea. Trouble is, there's so many airplanes that I haven't done flights in recently. There's always going to be something we haven't done, isn't there? It's been interesting to look at the new the Airbus A300 just recently. It made me realise just how rusty I've become with the procedural stuff. So flying GA all the time, you kind of get out of the habit of doing things in the right order. That's interesting that we've got a meter there. So what's it showing? Yeah, it's just RPM. We've got the same thing here. Do we have any light controls? We do. So at least now we have some position lights. There's our shadow on the trees below. Do I like the Cirrus SR22? I've had a go with it. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I see no reason not to like it. There's lots. It's the most successful, or the most. It has the highest sales of any GA plane in the world, doesn't it? It's the most successful GA plane. So the big island we can see out there is over here. Look, we're not going here. We're just going to go out to this little island in the bay. So should we head over there now? It's going to take a few minutes to get there. We'll go down low to the water and have some fun along the way, hey? shadow on the water down there. Okay, let's have a look at the map. We're making straight for it. There's a grass runway on the island, so we're going to try and do a touch and go on the grass runway. We'll obviously have to have a little circle first to see what we're going to be facing, so should we actually get a little bit of altitude? Okay, everybody look out for the grass airstrip. So the island we're approaching is Center Island. It has a native name, Rarotonga. So is this the airstrip on the beach down on this side? Looks like it, doesn't it? Because I turned the wind off, okay, so it's going to be 7 knots in from this side. Okay, so we don't have to worry about flaps in the Bücker Jungmann. In common with most biplanes, it doesn't have them. Double check this. Yeah, we're doing it right. Which part of this is runway and which of it is road or path is another person's question. I guess we're just going to do our best. Okay, we'll turn around and go back out again. We'll taxi down though, hey, we don't want to try and take off downwind. This is one of the huge advantages of a head tracking system, is you can lean around easily in the cockpit, especially in a biplane. Do the famous zigzagging taxi technique to see where on earth you're going. Okay, this looks like the end, this end. Tail up. Hold it straight on the rudder. Easier said than done. Let the speed come up gently. Let it go level, level, level. And we're away. Keeping an eye on that airspeed indicator. Okay, we'll just circle quickly to have a look at the island. That's interesting. It's like a bird carved into the hillside, look. Can you see that? Very cool. Okay, off we go towards the mountains. So, if we head... So ideally, we want to head to the hills, don't we? Just level the plane out, going that way for a moment. So if we were to add a position somewhere here, and then we'll just weave our way through the hills on the way to Manipuri. I mean, we don't have to be exact. Okay, let's get ourselves familiar with this aeroplane, with what we've got around the cockpit then. And that's landing lights, obviously. That's the pitot heater. I guess we ought to switch it on. What's the weather doing? If we get the weather on the ground down here at Invercargill, it was 25 centigrade. It's a lovely warm day, so we don't need to worry too much at these altitudes about getting too cold. Right, I'm just going to put us on the outside view for a moment so I can look at the live stream chat. I know the Bücker Jungmann has been updated repeatedly, so I'm just looking at the comments there about its sound. This is standard scenery for New Zealand. I've not done anything to it. The simulator is running on Ultra though. Should we do this from outside for a while? So we could, if we're clever about this, go window, open window, layout, minimal, put this over in the corner. We'll also get rid of the taskbar, so we want it to automatically hide when it's not in use. We'll make this smaller and put it up in the corner, and then we get the map of where we are at the moment so you can see it. There we go. And I can steer, obviously. So let's just zoom in a little bit more. There we go, we've got some place names on the map now. better from inside, doesn't it? Sounds good from inside as well. Okay, so we are on our way through a roundabout route. Eventually to Manipuri. Obviously it's going to take a while going at these sort of speeds. Unless we go doing some barnstorming to make it a bit more fun along the way. Hi Steiny, good to see you. Should we side slip it into the hill, into the fields here? Sure the farmers won't be annoyed too much. Thankfully there are no sheep simulated that could be worried by us. Yeah, so I'm just reading the live stream comments. I have been putting some late ones. To be honest, late at night is the only time I can really do anything with the simulator, because otherwise I get too many interruptions. And obviously working full time as well. Okay, the days in between Christmas and New Year I've got off for a change, but with working full time, by the time we got through dinner, it's late anyway. But then it has its advantages, recording late, that yeah, nobody comes to the door. Or nobody calls or anything like that. Although people don't tend to call anymore, do they? They send an email. Or a private message, or whatever you want to call it. A direct message. So we can see the hills in the distance. We'll be in them soon. Barreling through the hills towards Manipuri. So we're just coming along the edge of this bay here. The, what's it called? The Tawaiwai Bay, is that? I'm not sure of the pronunciations. So this is the bay. So we'll see how far we get with this today. Obviously I'm having to hand fly the whole time, and you can see the airplanes moving around, so I'm not really being given much of a rest. If I do stop to make a coffee, I'll have to go land somewhere. But the great thing, I guess, with this aeroplane is I can go and land in a farmer's field somewhere. You know, just to give you an example of that. There's a lovely field here, look. Obviously we're not going to land, we'll just bring it within a few feet of the floor. We could side slip it in. Yeah, because see, this field isn't so good as it looked immediately. There's a great big hump in the middle of it. I love when the grass renders nicely like that. It looks good, doesn't it? Obviously, yeah, you could see this thing could land very easily around here. Side slipping. You go full rudder and a little bit of opposite aileron. So, well, not full rudder, but some rudder. So I'm going to push left rudder. And you can see if I don't do anything, the airplane will just corkscrew to the left. But if I go full left rudder and a little bit of right aileron to counter it, you can fly in the direction, and you're presenting the side of the aeroplane to the air, but also the wings are not working optimally, so you lose a ton of lift. You can use side slipping for all sorts of reasons. One of the great ones is, say you are flying into a runway in a crosswind. It's probably the primary use for it, to be honest. You can use side slipping, so you use the rudder to keep the aeroplane pointing along the runway direction. So you land straight in even though you're in a crosswind, but then you lean the aeroplane, and if you're holding the nose pointing towards the runway, leaning, all it's going to actually do is make you slip left or right by rolling the aeroplane. So you're using the rudder the whole time to point at a location. You can do it, you know, without any wind. If I keep pointing that way, by rolling right, I'm sliding right. If I keep the nose pointing that way, now banking left and holding the nose, I'm now sliding left. So you can land in crosswinds by keeping the aeroplane pointing along the runway and judging it with the rudder to keep the nose pointing the right direction, and just bank to move left or right. But yeah, side slipping is an important technique to practice if you've never done it. But also, yeah, you see it used a lot because you're obviously inducing a lot of drag. You can descend very quickly with side slip without that. With actually the speed is slowing down, even in that dive. So you can descend very quickly side slipping, because you're inducing drag by presenting the side of the fuselage to the airflow. It varies from aeroplane to aeroplane though, how effective it is depending on the shape of the body. But luckily Flight Simulator now on the more recent aeroplanes has two things going on. It's doing computational fluid dynamics over the surface of the aeroplane, so it's simulating the airflow, which is something that X-planes still can't do. And it's also doing this soft body modelling as well, so anything that can move or flex, it's you know, modelling that as well. So yeah, so on top of this, you know, resolving the surface forces as you fly along, Flight Simulator now has this trick for some of the airplanes that implement it of doing computational fluid dynamics, where it's simulating, it basically builds a cube around the aeroplane full of particles, and it slides those particles over the shape, doing the physics as they encounter the shape through the airflow. So it gets an approximation of what the effect should be on the airframe by travelling through the air. Of course, that air might not be sat still. It could be, you know, coming at you at an angle. So as you approach a hill, for example, if you've got air hitting the hill, you might have updrafts on one side of a hill. I'm just looking for a hill. You might have updrafts on one side and downdrafts on the other as the wind hugs the hill. So it simulates all of that. It's very good. Getting closer to the hills and the mountains. Now, this aircraft has a ceiling of 15,000 feet. Do we get control over mixture in this? I think I might have... That's trim. Yeah, that's... I've just confirmed that was the trim, it moved. I'm not sure if we get mixture. Is that it? Nope, that's the primer. I'm just thinking I might need to go into the controls and redo. I've got my axis set for doing RPM, which obviously there's no RPM control in this. I'm guessing that must be it. So we just have to keep an eye on it. So it's on fully rich at the moment. But if we have to climb in these mountains to anything above 3,000 feet, we'll have to start looking after that. Having said that, is this the altimeter? It looks a bit odd. Do we get anything different in the first cockpit? Should we have a look? No, it's just a much more simplified cockpit. Oh, this is the altimeter, okay. That makes sense. In kilometers, so 1,000 meters. That makes sense, okay. So 3,000 feet is going to be not much higher than we are at the moment. Right, let's have a look on the map. So basically follow the edge of these hills and that should take us straight to Manipuri. So this ridge directly in front of us, it's just this, I think. This is where we wish we were in something a little bit faster, isn't it? Right, I'm going to start trimming it out to climb over the next few minutes. So climbing 5... Oh, this is in meters a second, okay, so we need to be careful about that. Should do this from outside. So, yeah, see you next year, Steiny. Just saw your message. Hopefully you haven't gone yet before I saw it, but yeah. I'm just going to concentrate on these hills and try not to slam into one of them. So we're doing about 180 kilometers an hour, which is pretty good going. Just cutting this corner off. I guess we could cut in here over Lake Monowai and follow the bay in. Might make it a bit more fun. So we need to come straight over the top of, I'm guessing, this range directly in front of us to take us in there. So can we get to that altitude that quickly? We're about to find out. Let's keep an eye on the indicated airspeed and the climb rate. So we can hold just under about 800 feet a minute, maybe. Oh, sorry, 800 or 80 meters. Or 8 meters a second. That's what that means, doesn't it? So we're climbing actually quite quickly then. That's a pretty steep climb. It's got 2,500 to 3,000 feet a minute. So what we're trying to do here is drop in here to follow along, although I suppose we could straight line it, couldn't we? But at least we'll get some more scenery to go look at over the top of the ridge. Obviously we can cheat and look at LittleNavMap and see if we zoom in on ourselves. He says, famous last words, we can get our altitude. Obviously it says we've got insufficient fuel for the journey. That's based on Cessna parameters though. And yeah, I have no doubt that we'll need to get some more fuel, because this is going to go down. So we're going to drop down over this ridge into the lake, I think. Well, not into the lake, obviously, but Lake Monowai. It's just over the top of this ridge. So 1,000 meters will be roughly 3,000 feet, won't it? So we're getting up to the range where we're going to need to thin the fuel out. We can always listen to that. It's not making a great deal of difference, is it? Or it doesn't appear to be. I'm a bit too far back in the cockpit. I always forget, these are really cramped cockpits, aren't they, on these little aeroplanes? Here comes that ridge we were talking about. Should we fly along the top of it for a little way before dropping into the valley? Let's show you this on the map. Funny, look, there's a little painted marker there at speeds you shouldn't go beyond. Okay, let's have a little look at the live stream. Okay. So we just follow this on down to Manapuri. I guess we can go either side of this hill in the distance. Doesn't make much difference to us. Oh, just get comfortable. Could do with a glass of wine actually. Shouldn't drink and fly, I suppose. It's tempting to follow the river, isn't it? A bit of altitude to get over this ridge. Okay, so we're approaching Manapuri slowly. Then off to the most foolhardy bit, which is the trip to Quinton Lodge, which is wonderfully modelled and extremely dangerous to land at. But this aeroplane should make it fairly straightforward. The hills in the distance are amazing, aren't they? Obviously we're just skirting the edge of... It goes on for 100 miles basically, or 50 miles anyway. So you can see we're just coming in at the bottom of the map here, flying towards Manipuri. I guess to keep it interesting, we could go in between the hills here. Although they're completely blanketed in trees though, so maybe the flatland is a little bit more interesting to see fields going past, rather than just scrub. That does look prettier that way though, doesn't it? And you get the mountains to look at in the distance. Although you suppose you get them this side as well. The Rakatu wetlands and the what's it called? The Wayo River? Is that Wayo River? Rakatu viewpoint. So this must be Rakatu, the hill. Has a name. Follow the river. Just a bit of fun, something to do along the way. We'll follow the river. It must be nearly there. Should we go and have a look? Oh no, we've got a little way to go yet. So if we climb, let's go across this bit of grass here first. Let's follow the river. So the airfield's over there somewhere. I'm just looking at the live stream comments. I haven't got the camp out utility installed at the moment, I'm afraid. Otherwise, yeah, we could have gone camping, couldn't we? I just realised I didn't richen the fuel back up, so I don't know how well simulated this is, to be honest. Has it got any kind of aerodynamic devices? No, there's no flaps you can open or close either. It's quite simple and straightforward. Okay, let's have a look then. So in relation to this ridge, it's just behind it. Where's the wind coming from on the airfield? So 330 degrees. So 3.2 will be fine then on the grass for us to do our touch and go at Manipuri. So we're heading straight for it. So just to make this a bit more fun, I'll do a circuit around Manipuri before we go in and land, just so we can get our bearings of where we are. So obviously you can see the long runway directly across us there, and there's the grass runway, the one we'll be using. So we'll just circle the main buildings before we come in. And admire the scenery. Ah, we have some company. And wave at the car park, I guess, before we come in and do our touch and go on the grass runway. Our biplane's great. If we just hold the same attitude, we should take off in a nice neat line. Okay, so where do we want to be going next? Follow Lake Takeoff. Basically the length of it. That's easy then. So there's a hill directly in front of us. So yeah, just around the back of that hill then. We go onto the lake and just follow it in a straight line. Which server am I using? I'm using the West Europe server, which isn't the usual one I use, but it's just the one I happen to be on, so there you go. It's a great looking aeroplane, isn't it? We're just about to come onto the edge of the lake after this last bridge here. I'm only using any Rex add-ons. No, I've just turned the clouds to, or the weather to partly cloudy, is it called? Because the real weather was a bit too fierce for a little biplane. So what we might do today, being realistic about the speed of the aeroplane, is just get to Quinton Lodge for today's flight. So we'll fly the length of the lake, obviously having a look at each of these little villages along the way. There's one here, there's another one up here, and then we'll be off into the hills on the way into Quinton Lodge, which will be the dangerous bit. So this settlement that we're just approaching is called Takeoff. I hope that's how it's pronounced. we go then, down the lake. Sure the sound levels are still okay. Yeah, you can hear me over the top of the engine, that's good. Yeah, so someone made a remark earlier about this airplane being agile. It's very agile. It's used as a, it was used as a, you know, cadet trainer for pilots that would go on to combat aircraft. So yeah, it's fully aerobatic. Doesn't seem to have problems with fuel flow either when it's upside down. I don't know if it will hold knife edge, probably not. No. But it has no problems doing basic aerobatic manoeuvres. Oh, it's incredibly stable. Look, you can throw the nose around. I haven't tried a spin. Should we try one? We'll get a bit of height first. Do some stall testing while we're flying over the lake to keep ourselves busy. So, coming up to 100 kilometers an hour. Speed is falling off. I don't think it's got a stall warning, so we'll just see it start to fall out of the sky. So if I keep the elevator in, yeah, with the elevator in, it was spiraling, but it wasn't going to go wickedly out of control. It wasn't going to tumble. Let's check which way we're going. That's not a sight, that's the fuel gauge. So that's a that shows the level of the fuel, and the tank's obviously is gravity fed. From the fuel is in the center box here, above, you know, the wings are connected to, and there's a pipe down, and that shows a level that's in the tank. Good point, actually. That should go wrong when we're upside down, and it doesn't. Obviously that would be next level modelling if they did that. Also, I suspect we should get carburetor problems with going upside down, and we don't. they only really solved the carburetor problems during the Second World War, because obviously the next generation of aircraft that followed this were fully 3D aerobatic, or in the early years of the war they weren't. Some aircraft had an advantage over others down to the design of their engine, that they could do negative G-forces and the engine would keep running, but not all of them. Had to be specifically designed for it. Different types of engine obviously have different characteristics as well. How are we going to get through the hills then? Do we just pick our way through, or do we fly? I think we fly to the end of the lake. So we'll carry on this way. So there are some modern additions to this aircraft. You can see over there the pitot tube is a modern one. There's a modern transponder here, but the rest of it is fairly accurate to its time period. There's a modern... Actually no, that's the comm radio. There's a modern transponder down here. We haven't even turned it on. See where I'm going. It's so difficult to do that with a head tracking. Let me just trim the aeroplane out so it will keep going in a straight line. There we go. So it does have a modern transponder, at least. If you wanted to see some aerobatics, it's not going to be hard. Okay, so we're getting somewhere near the end of the lake. We can see the end of the lake. So let's go and have a look at the map while we're chugging along then. So when we do get right to the end, it will dogleg left and then right, and then we follow the route in, and there's going to be a pass to clear no matter which route we go. So it's going to be at 1100 meters. So suddenly that's really helpful having this altimeter here. I have no idea what the squawk is in New Zealand. Just looking at live stream comments there. I guess the nice thing about this is the turning circle is so good on it that even if we end up in the end of a valley, we can just circle as we climb. It's not going to be a problem. How are we doing for fuel? Coming down towards half a tank, but, well, we've probably used about a third of a tank so far. I wonder what's in the box. I can open it. It has got click spots on it. That's got me wondering there. Probably find out it's just the battery. Unless that's behind us, of course. It might be. No? Could be behind the chair. Okay, whereabouts are we? Approaching this end of the lake, and then you can see Quinton Lodge is at the end of the valley. Actually, what we'll do, we'll end at Milford Sound this evening, because based on how long it's taken to get here, that's going to take a long time to get back over to Dunedin, isn't it? So we'll do tonight to Milford Sound, and another day when I've got some more energy, we'll carry on from Milford Sound. Maybe we use a different biplane for the rest of the journey. Another aircraft with us. Okay, so we go through the dogleg and then just follow and then take the right fork by the look of it, and that will give us a bit of a squirrely route in to Quinton Lodge, which will be fun. So we'll carry on all the way up to Milford Sound, but we're going to go to Quinton Lodge first. We're going to actually do a full stop landing there to go and have a nose around, because it's very, very pretty. It's one of the areas that received extra, how do you put it, extra attention when they did the New Zealand update. Okay, here comes the dogleg. So beyond those hills, or beyond those small hills in the middle of the waterway, we continue on. Yeah, so we're going to continue on and then take left and then right. Hopefully. Well, that's the plan. It's a shame when the textures do that, isn't it? I wonder if they'll improve that for 2024. Or try to improve it. I guess it depends what data they've got. I wouldn't expect 2024 to be much of a big leap over what we've got. It's just going to have extra features, I would imagine, and re-engineered for the newer hardware. So maybe some point next year I'll be in the market for a 4090 graphics card, maybe. I have to save up my pennies for a very long time. But hopefully the 4090s will come down in price. If you cache to get data, so I have no problem with data because I've got fibre to the house internet. So I can pretty much fly wherever I like and I never get anything pop up. When you're seeing textures on the edge of things that are a bit squirrely or stretched, that's just the modelling. You know, because a lot of it's done by AI, and there obviously are going to be corners here and there where it's not as good as it might be. Sometimes the servers have a bad day as well and don't provide the correct data. So you'll get a hillside that's missing trees or something like that. But it's quite rare. I think I've always been fascinated with the technique they use to fake trees. You know, to put the leaves on the trees. It's a very, very clever technique. But it's all, you know, fools your eye. Because it's not really doing what you think it's doing. They do the same with the interior of some of the big jets. And inside office buildings. Where it looks like they've got interiors, but they really haven't. And it's an optical illusion. So the same thing is done with the leaves on the trees. It's a clever trick. What's the dial on the nose of the plane? That's for the person in the front to see what the RPM is doing. So if I cut the engine, okay, so we've reached the end of the lake. So we turn left here, and then we should see a fork in the valley, and we go right at the fork in the valley. There's quite a way up here to remember the scale of things. So it's not this immediate right turn, it's the one up ahead of us. We also need to remember we need to get a bit of altitude. So I'm going to start climbing before we get there. Otherwise we'll find ourselves in the end of a valley with nowhere to go in a few minutes' time. So we'll just hold on to about 5 meters a second, climb right. So we carry on up this side basically. and that curves round to the left. That's that slight curve we can see in the distance there. So we'll continue climbing the whole way along here. As long as we just maintain our climb, we won't get into trouble. Because there is a pass at the far end that I think we have to get over. Over here, look. So if we give ourselves plenty of time to get there, we'll be fine. I mean, even if we didn't, we just double back down the valley as we carry on climbing. And then double back again. It's not a major problem, we've got plenty of fuel. So as we are climbing though, we're coming up towards the region where we're going to have to lean the engine out. So I'm going to do it now. Just out of interest, let's try it. Is this the mixture? Yes, it is. So obviously we just did an air start of the engine there. We pulled the mixture, so it starved it, and then we reintroduced it, and it ignited just from the propeller spinning round. Whoa! Look at those hills. That's ridiculous. Makes us seem a little bit small and insignificant, so you can see that ridge look. That's incredible, isn't it? Should we do this from the outside view? Looks better from the inside, doesn't it? Whoa. Oh, look where I'm going, hey? So we're at 1,000 meters altitude now. So we've got plenty of time. Let's just have a little look at this. So 1,200 meters, 1,300-ish we need. So we'll carry on climbing then. Let's go back to 10 meters a second. Or thereabouts. Yeah, we are going to have to fly some circles on the way up here. I doubt we're going to make it in time, but at least we're part of the way. We're going to get cold. I wonder if there was a way through that way. No, that goes nowhere. This is where an attitude indicator would be really helpful, but we haven't got one. Luckily, that glitch is still there in the current Builder Flight Simulator with the horizon showing in the cloud. Is that the cloud though actually that's doing that, or is that the horizon glitch? I think it's the horizon glitch doing that. So we're probably up to about 1,300 meters now. So on course to clear the ridge. So we want to clear the ridge to the left to then fall into Quinton Lodge. So this is the ridge that we're looking to get through. They don't look like very friendly hills, do they? Yeah, so we have made it on our first climb, which is great. It's all quite forbidding, isn't it? Okay, so then we drop down into Quinton Lodge as soon as we get over the ridge. Not before we have a good look around now, hey? Oh, Sim has just paused. Hopefully it will release any moment. There it goes. Oh, someone's being brave to go and have an explore. It does look amazing out there, doesn't it? We're like tiny ants flying around these mountains. Okay, there's the drop down to Quinton Lodge. Now you can see why I was worried about it. Okay, so let's side slip it all the way in. These hills are crazy, aren't they? So let's get some idea of where we are in relation to the lodge. It's just around the corner from us. It's down here. I think this is not the approach for it. The approach will be along the other valley. There it is. There's the dirt strip. And there's the lodge. What an amazing place to fly into, hey? So we're going to extend along here, do a U-turn and come back in for it. Gives you some idea of scale when you see, oh, that plane's gone into the trees, hasn't he? Or was that just a graphical? I think that was a graphical glitch. So we are descending. We'll be turning back in a moment. We'll be flying back out this way because it's the only way out. Unless you've got a high performance aircraft. Watch the tree line. So let's just there's the runway out in front of us. Can you see it there? Just above the ridge. So we need to keep an eye. We've got no frame of reference of which way is up because we have no attitude indicator. So we're having to go by feel, really. Somebody just put their plane in the ground over there. Okay, so welcome to Quinton Lodge. It's quite the setting, isn't it? Really is something else. How am I doing for fuel? Oops, wrong button. We've got plenty. We've got half a tank. We'll get back up to... We're going to fly along the lake now. The Arthur River and Lake Ada. Over to Milford Sound. Okay, so is there anything in my way? No. So we follow this to the right. Okay. So just follow the Arthur River out into Lake Ada and then straight into Milford Sound. Just out of interest, how far is it from Milford Sound over to Queenstown? It's not that far, is it? I think we'll call it though at Milford Sound though. There's the lake. Lake Ada boat landing is just coming up on our left down here apparently. It must be over here somewhere. Pretty awesome, isn't it, the scenery? Okay. Somebody's mega yacht over there, and here should be Milford Sound somewhere. Yeah, we're right over the top of it. So we'll circle round over the landing stages. There's the jetties. We'll try to avoid the hill. Hey. All the coaches lined up. So we'll do a low pass first along the runway. Just to scout it out. I'll keep away from the runway in case anybody else wants to come in, so I'm not in the way. Fly along the edge of it. There's helicopters. There's a caravan, is that? Preparing to go. There's a Cessna down there. Okay, let's bring this in. So does that taxiway actually lead back? I didn't notice on the flyover. I think it does, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Trying to get mown down by my wing. Oh, it's a shame they haven't got a sound for the engine spluttering. Otherwise, this plane's pretty cool, isn't it? I guess I could turn the batteries off just so we don't flatten it while we're sat here. And the magnetos can come off as well. And the lights, position lights over here. And there's not really much to switch off in here, is there? And the P8, obviously with no batteries, that's not going to do anything anyway. So there we go, still in one piece. Can be used again. And this is Milford Sound. Very cool. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm going to leave it there. And we'll see you again soon. Okay, take care. Oh, hang on. Scott is asking, without NaviMap, etc., how would you know which direction the wind is when flying a plane like this? Windsocks. You look at the windsock. But obviously, if you're flying along over the ground, you can see yourself crabbing as well. So you can figure it out from that. Yeah, so you can figure it out. But the trouble is, from area to area, the wind is going to vary, especially in valleys, because it gets funneled through the valleys. So that's when local knowledge comes in. And you'll know that on a given day with an easterly or whatever, you know, the way it will get funneled. But when you get to the airfield, you look for the windsocks. That's why you would circle before coming in to have a look at them. Okay, and obviously if you've got radio comms, then you would call the tower and they would tell you. Or you could use Unicom. If it's uncontrolled, but there's other aircraft in the area, you might be able to ask them. But quite commonly, they might even have ATIS. Even if it's uncontrolled, they might have just a recording running with the local meteorological report. But yeah, so there's lots of ways you could do it. Anyway, I'm going to stop there, and I'll see you again soon. If you're looking for a biplane, this one is the Bücker Jungmann. There's another really good one that Coronado make called the Waco, which is very good. So go have a look at that as well. I think when I continue this out through the hills towards Dunedin, I'll probably use the Waco to do it. So anyway, I really am going to go now. I'll see you again soon.